over the weekend, there were two reports that you should make sure that you see if we don't get into them too deeply. One was that the U.S. has sent a whole bunch, and it's unclear how many billions of dollars worth of fighter jets and bombs we sent to Israel recently under what the State Department calls sort of like almost like a rolling authorization. These weapons were authorized sometime in the past. It's unclear from what State Department says, but these are just sort of like deliveries that, I don't know, maybe in the same way that we get we sign up for the water cooler and, 6 months later they're bringing us water. I mean, that's
automated subscription.
Automated subscrition weapons. But on top of all that, if that wasn't horrific enough, part of that, what was delivered were these 2,000-pound bombs that supposedly the U.S. was like, has told Israel and supposedly has a standing policy. These are not to be used in densely populated areas. And there is no greater densely populated area in the world than the Gaza Strip.
They've already used these 2,000-pound bombs.
They have many times.
Where were the hypothetical places they'd use this that weren't densely populated?
Then that gets into a question of if they can't be used in Gaza, where else will they be used? And then we're risking a wider regional conflict for our support.
I don't think there's any reason to believe that there's some restriction on them using it in Gaza. We haven't imposed that in the past.
Agreed. But the other scenario is horrific as well.
Of course. And the bottom line is that as densely populated as Gaza was 6 months ago, it is even more densely populated where people are, where these weapons would ostensibly be used. The other report is out of Haaretz, that Israel created kill zones. Now, some people are saying, oh, actually, this is a misinterpretation of the mistranslation of the Hebrew. It's actually extermination zones. Choose your poison in that instance. But the bottom line is that this came out of the leaked video that we saw of the drone attacks on 4 boys who appeared to be, mid-teens, walking in the middle of a road, in no way looking as if they were trying to avoid anything. And were struck by a drone, and then as 1 or 2 of them survived and tried to get away, struck again by another drone, fire, I should say. And Haaretz went back and looked how this was classified as if they were Hamas militants. And there's absolutely no evidence they were Hamas militants, and it basically led to a broader story in the way that the Israeli military is operating. They basically decide there are certain perimeters, and it depends on which unit, from unit to unit, essentially, what the size of the perimeters are and what the terms of engagement are, and no one but those people who are killing other people know the details of these perimeters, and it puts into question all of the Israeli assessments as to who they've killed, and certainly how many they've killed. But that is something worth seeing in Haaretz. Meanwhile, on this weekend, on CNN's Christian Amanpour's show, here is Zahiro Shahar Moore, whose uncle is held hostage in Gaza. And this is his perspective on what the Israeli government has been doing.
You told us before we started the interview that some hostage families are hesitant to actually go out and protest. Why is that?
There is a very strong notion of please don't make too much noise, otherwise your family member, your hostage, could be moved to a lower place once a list will be composed. There's a lot of pressure coming from the cabinet ministers stating these thoughts. Okay, be quiet, play along, come with us to this delegations and then meet with the UN and put pressure on outside players, but don't say anything to contradict the official governmental line. And the Israeli public is being pumped with together we will win, and we're not winning at all. So this charade should stop. We need some international intervention, because the way things are going in Israel now, we're jumping straight head down to the abyss.
And it is really horrible to hear you describe that, and we obviously wish you all the best. So here
you have a Israeli family member of a hostage victim taken by Hamas, calling for international intervention with the way that Israel is reacting and the way they are going about supposedly attempting to secure the release of these hostages. And just less than 48 hours later, after that hostage relative is interviewed on CNN, we have images of tens of thousands of protesters in 5 cities around Israel, including Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, Haifa, Caesarea. What was the fifth one? I can't remember exactly what it was. But nevertheless, these are massive anti-government protests. And this is not to say that these people are protesting necessarily waging war on Gaza. But at the very least, they are unhappy with both the current Israeli government's failures that allowed October 7th to happen, and they are unhappy with the response.
The de facto, basically Hannibal directive response here.
Here is some images of those protests. See Israeli riot police.
As soon as we can do it,
All right, go ahead. You can keep.
we call for new elections to take place. Bibi Netanyahu is not doing his job anywhere in the last few years. He's bringing the country down in every aspect possible. So we got to replace him immediately.
Okay, and I mean, it's hard to not see those images and think that had they taken place in this country, we would hear all sorts of commentary in basically every corner of the media of the rampant anti-Semitism that is taking place, and the out of control college students or whatever it is, and TikTok, et cetera, et cetera. I'd be curious as to sort of some of the folks like Dan Goldman and Congressman Dan Goldman, but ranging from, I don't know, the editorial board at the New York Times, whomever, as to their response to this.
The whole range of people has been failed by Biden, and like all the range of Democrats and the supporters of Israel in this moment. Not only like the far left and Ofer Kasif and those folks, but the literal families of the hostages.
Yep.
They're being failed by this support of a genocide instead.